look upon, as long as you look upon, as long as you look upon the unmanifest as something that is an object of perception, then this whole problem comes. You can appreciate the presence of the unmanifest, but you can't see the unmanifest. That appreciate, I mean only you can infer. That's it. If it were totally non-existent, it would not be created. If it is available to be created, then it is very much there. The possibility of it is very much there in the unmanifest. Thus, the unmanifest state is a matter of anumana, not pratyaksha. The vyakritam is pratyaksham. Avyakritam is anumeyam, anumana vishayam. It is something that is inferred. That is said here by Bhashyakara. Ghata sadbhave, in the matter of the presence of the pot, in the matter of the presence of the pot, anumana, in the presence of, in the matter of the presence of the pot in all the three periods of time, anumanam avochama, we have already told that anumana is the pramana. Even when the pot is not made, it is there as the potential. It is like even though a small little boy, even though he is not yet grown up, but his capacity to father a child is there as the potential. That is called the sadbhava, inference. Vipratishedhacha, and also vipratishedha in contradiction. Contradiction in terms is called vipratishedha. Virodha means opposition. Contradiction in terms is like, I have no tongue to say, I say to others, I have no tongue. That's called vipratishedha. This is a dosha. I have no tongue. This is called vipratishedha. Contradiction in terms. It's a contradiction. It's a very, very glaring contradiction. What is the contradiction? If you say there is no pot, and then still you want to create it, that effort to create what is not is a vipratishedha. Very beautiful thing. It's a huge jump. A lot of scholarship you require to bridge that huge gap. Bhagavan says, to conclude that there is no pot, and then make an effort to create it is a vipratishedha. What looks normalcy is abnormalcy. What looks otherwise normalcy is everybody says there is no pot, I want to create it. Sounds normal, but here Bhashyakara says it is a contradiction. It has to be there. And therefore to think that before I was born I was not there, the non-existent me before these many years became existent is a contradiction. Jo nahi tha wo aaya is a contradiction. In fact, even before one was born, he was there but unmanifest. He was there like this. like in sleep, and open his eyes. Like the tree in the seed remains with all its vast detail folding back. The entire tree folds back to itself, folds back, folds back, folds back, until it becomes a dot in the seed, and it remains like this. And slowly, 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 slowly. Therefore, you can't say the tree was non-existent before it germinates. The jiva was non-existent before he was born. The universe was non-existent before it was created. We can't say. Yadi ghataha bhavishyati iti. Yadi, if ghato bhavishyati, there will be a pot. If I create a pot, there will be a pot. Iti kulalaha, a pot maker always thinks that if I use the pot wheel and make a pot, in future there will be a pot. Yadi ghato bhavishyati iti kulaladishu vyapriyamaneshu, when they function. When the pot maker etc. function with the hope, with the thought, with the definite idea that they can create a pot, when they function, vyapriyamaneshu ghatartham pramanena nishchitam yena cha kalena ghatasya sambandho bhavishyati udyachyate. At what time they decide to create a pot and think that there will be a pot, at that very time, tasmin eva kale, at that very time, ghato asanniti, if you say, there is no pot. At the very time when you think that there will be a pot, at that very time, you can't say there is no pot. When you say there will be a pot, at that very time, you can't say there is no pot. If there is no pot, then there will not be a pot. There will be a pot means even now, there is a pot. You can move from the manifest state of the presence of the pot to the unmanifest state of the presence of the pot. Whereas Sunyavadi takes the stand of non-existence. An unmanifest presence is different from absence. You see, it's a very big thing. Don't think it is intellectual quibbling. No. Siddhanti is arguing in favor of unbroken presence, whereas the Shunyavadi is arguing in favor of the broken presence. Actually, he is arguing in favor of absence, not even broken presence, absence. In fact, he is arguing in favor of the unbroken absence. Haji, Obi, they also talk about the eternity of the absence. We talk about the eternity of the presence. Bas itna hi hai. They also use the word. You know, their terminology and our terminology resemble. And I can see very clearly lot of academicians and even students of Vedanta unnecessarily becoming pagal over that. Yes. I see them all pagal and I enjoy it also. Yes, it's all pagalpan. When the Buddhistic literature is Nagarjuna's literature, my God, this is exactly like Vedanta. He says, Kalatita, as I told in the previous card, Trikala Atitam Shunya, timeless. It transcends 3 periods of time, naturally total absence. The absence of time has to transcend time. You are talking about the transcendental absence. We are talking about the transcendental. We are not talking about merely it is also immanent. It is Kala Atitam and it is also Kala Vyapakam. It's a very beautiful thing. It is Kala Vyapakam. It transcends, like the sand transcends the water, but also it runs through that perception, because what you see as water is nothing but sand. Therefore here he says, येन च कालेन घटस्य सम्बन्धो भविष्यति उच्यते तस्मिन्नेव काले घटः असन्निति विप्रतिषिद्धम् अभिधीयते. Up to that. To say in the same breath, there will be pot and there is no pot, is a contradiction. How is it, Swamiji? I can appreciate there will be pot and in the same breath there will be no pot, is a contradiction. But how is this a contradiction? To say there will be pot, but now there is no pot. How is it a contradiction? Lekin Bhashikara says it is a contradiction. Why? Because if it is not there, then it will not be. Because what is not in all the three periods of time. Because when scholars talk to one another, when a layman reads it, he would like to be spoon-fed, but it doesn't. Because they are arguing between each other. Therefore, a lot of things, a lot of fundamentals are just, skipped. You are expected to know them. If you say there will be pot, and then right there, if you say right there in the same breath, if you say there is no pot, is a contradiction. Yes. But for a layman, what is a contradiction? To say there will be no pot and also to say there will be no pot is a contradiction. He says, here Bhashikara says, to say there will be a pot and at the same time to say there is no pot is a contradiction. Why? If there is asan, what is asan? Is asan in all the three periods of time. Like Manushya Shrungam is asan. Shasha Shrungam is asan. Gagana Pushpam is asan. Sixth element, asan. Square circle is asan. Therefore, if the pot can be born, even before it is born, it is. That is enlightenment. That is a useful sight. Takes effort. If you can go through that effort and appreciate it, you have put on huge growth. What is not cannot come to be. What is not cannot come to be. What is unmanifest can come to become manifest. Therefore, presence and absence don't alternate each other. Vyakriti and avyakriti alternate. In this context, Bhashyakara ka Vakya reflects in what Bhagavan Krishna says, Nasato vidyate bhavaha, na bhavo vidyate sataha. Very beautiful. Ubhayorapi drishtontaha tvanayoho tattvadarshibhihi. Very beautiful. He says, the absent is never present and the present is never absent. What is never absent. What is not is never present. The ever present and the never present, the one who sees the distinction is a Tattvadarshi, is the one to know Rogan. In fact, there is only something, the truth is something that is ever present. But what is there something parallel to the ever present called the never present? Hey Rama, can there be something that is parallel to the ever present? Then that also would be. How can the never present be parallel to the ever present? If there is something called the never present being parallel to the ever present, then that also would become ever present. दिमाग खराब ना हो तो हो जाएगा इससे. Therefore, please understand, there is no such a thing called absence in this world. Even this sentence, when Bhagavan says the one who sees the distinction between presence and absence is a wise man, he means so. He means indeed what he means is this from the Jiva Drishti. The one who sees the distinction between the presence of the truth and the notion of absence, not the fact of absence, the notion of absence. Thinking in terms of the absence is a notion, whereas presence is a fact. Absence is always a notion. Why? Because there is no such a thing called absence. There is no such a thing called non-existence, because even that non-existence has to be evidenced by the Sakshi which is ever present. Absence is not parallel to the presence. Therefore, what is the relation between presence and absence? Truth and notion. Both cannot be two opposite truths. There can never be two opposite truths. If there are two opposites, one is the truth, the other is a notion. The real opposition is only between truth and notion. It is always better to use the word notion. Adhyasa, as Bhashyakara uses. Vastu and adhyasa. Why? If I say truth and untruth, they think untruth also is some solid thing called untruth. Sine naam de, naamkaran. Untruth is not a thing parallel to truth, please. The one word that doesn't allow you to make it parallel is a notion. Adhyasa. One is a fact, the other is a notion. Can you look upon the notion as parallel to the truth? No. Notion is always about the truth. Notion is always about the truth, not parallel to the truth. इस प्रकार ये प्रतिषेध हाजी ये तो बात करनी. This is a topic you can go on talking for ages. Therefore here he says, Ghatasya sambandho bhavishyati ityuchyate tasminnev kale Ghataha asanniti vipratisiddham avidiyate. Like what? Bhavishyan Ghataha asanniti. This is, he puts it in brief. There will be a pot, but now there is no pot. There will be a pot, but there is no pot. Bhavishyan Ghataha asanniti, meaning na bhavishyati ityartha. It means what? There will be a pot and there will not be a pot is a contradiction. Because if you say there will be a pot but there is not means again there will not be. That means there will be and there will not be is a contradiction. There will be and there will not be. But I am not saying there will not be, I am only saying there is not. There is not means there will not be. Because what is not will not be. Yes. And at the end he says, clarifies. It's a laughable contradiction. Ayam ghataha na vartate iti advat. It is as contradictory as saying this object is not there. Yeah, you are referring to the object as this. जो यहां पर है वो नहीं है. जो यहां पर है, जो मेरे सामने खड़ा है, वो नहीं है. It's a contradiction. Similarly, there is no difference between this laughable contradiction and that profounder contradiction also is that there will be a pot, but there is no pot. There will be pot, but there is no. I can create a pot and therefore in time the pot will come, but right now it is not there. It is a contradiction. In time the child will be born, right now he is not, there is a contradiction. In time the jiva wakes up, but right now he is not, there is a contradiction. In fact, everything that can become manifest was remaining unmanifest. It's not possible otherwise, because creation cannot take place from the realm of non-existence. From the realm of non-existence, it is not possible. And now, ये शून्यवादी को thoroughly confused करके, this acharyas also have a knack of torturing me. Use some terminology which they can't understand. वो दिमाग पूरा खराब करके फिर थोड़ा सा they condescend, meaning they make their inquiry little easier. In the beginning they make it really. It is not like that, I am just telling. It is because you will have to call a spade to begin with. And any reference to anything as asan is wrong has to be established. The very language of non-existence, even the word non-existence has no meaning, because there is no, when you say pot, it is meaningful because there is a thing called pot. If you say building, it is meaningful word because there is a thing called building. When you say absence, this word is meaningless because there is no such a thing called absence. There is no such a thing called absence. A tree, there is a thing called tree. Meaningful. These transcendental meditation wale, they always initiate you into a meaningless word. अगर हम लोग कहते हैं भगवान का नाम लो, ओम नमः शिवाय, then you say ये सब जानते हैं हम, कुछ नई चीज बताओ. Indians are also very funny. आप चावल जानते हैं, चावल क्यों खाना चाहते हैं? रोटी जानते हैं, उसको क्यों खाना चाहते हैं? पानी जानते हैं, पानी क्यों पी रहे हैं? जिंदगी को जानते हैं, फिर जीना क्यों चाहते हैं? Indians are really funny. They are good but stupid. Sorry to say that. I like that word. It's really stupid. They have such a great wealth. I am saying ओम नमः शिवाय, भगवान का पूजा कीजिए, मन में आपको अनुग्रह आएंगे. नहीं, ये सब जानते हैं, कुछ नई बात बताओ. So somebody said, understood, these Indians are really there, look for something new, not the right. Then he said, then they initiate you into a meaningless word. And this is the meaningless word. मैं नहीं हूँ. That's a meaningless word. मैं नहीं हूँ. Absent. भगवान नहीं है. कुछ नहीं है. कुछ नहीं है. कुछ नहीं है. इससे शांति थोड़ी मिलता है. It's all meaningless. They initiate you into some meaningless word. And then they say, They initiate you into some meaningless word or a meaningless sentence, and they tell you, and then you have to take the oath of secrecy. Means you should not tell anybody. Why do they say, I used to wonder, why do they say that you should not tell others? Because people will laugh at you. Therefore they take care, please don't tell others. Please don't tell others, otherwise you will become a laughing stock of others. Therefore, ये problem तो है ही. There is no. Therefore, the relation between presence and absence is not two things. Presence is anubhava rupa, absence is notion. Presence is felt, choicelessly felt. Absence is only thought, imagined, distorted. Absence doesn't exist except in the form of a thought, whereas presence exists only in the form of the being. And therefore, having said, now here Siddhanti says, Atha, sir, if you were to change the language a little, I don't mind. Instead of saying the absent part becomes a present, if you change the language a little, the unmanifestly present becomes the manifestly present, then I have no objection. Supposing before the creation of the pot, supposing you say, it is not manifest, it is not manifest, I don't mind. But if you say, it is not present, it is a different school of thought. Denying existence is a more serious thing. Whereas denying a manifestation is all right. When it is like the tree in the seed is not yet manifest. But you can't say there is no tree there. You can't say there is no tree in the seed. There is a tree in the seed, but it is not yet manifest. उसमें कोई problem नहीं है. But you are denying existence. Before the pot is created, the pot is unmanifestly present. But the moment you say there is no pot, it becomes a different school of thought. Problem. ये दूसरा ही दर्शन हो जाती है. ये शास्त्र कहाँ रहा फिर, वेदांत कहाँ रहा. अथ, let us see, प्रागुत्पत्तेः. I have to explain line by line, Ji. You have to also understand my predicament. Ji. At least when you listen to a Vedanti, you develop compassion. Ji. That is a very big growth. Ji. Because to sit through for 1 hour to listen to a Swami, you have to have a lot of sympathy. Chalo, let us sit through. Sympathy. Cooperate with the words. Atha, pragutpattehe, before the creation of the pot. Ghataha, pot asannityuccheta. If you say it is not there, supposing you were to say that before the creation of the pot there is no pot, even if you use that language, I don't mind. Suppose you see, even before the creation of the pot, suppose you say there is no pot now, and if you explain that no pot, what it means is, ghatartham pravritteshu kulaladishu तत्र यथा व्यापार रूपेण वर्तमानाः तावत् कुलालादयः तथा घटः न वर्तते. Up to that I am going to explain. Before the creation of the pot, if you say there is no pot, now there is a pot maker sitting, there is a clay piles there. There is a wheel there. There is a pot maker sitting, ready to make a pot. There is a wheel there. Then there is a clay pile. At this time, there is no pot. The way the kulala is, the way the wheel is, in that manner, the pot is not. I don't mind. Meaning what? It is not manifest. It's not projection. Pot maker is sitting there. He is manifest to my eyes. The wheel is manifest to my eyes. In that manner, the pot is not manifest to my eyes. Then you say pot is not there, and if you mean that it is not manifest to my eyes, then it is okay, ji. But supposing you said it is totally not there, that's not acceptable. I mean, if you said before the creation of the pot is totally not, then it is not acceptable. If you say the pot is but not yet manifest to my eyes, it is not there. The way the pot maker falls within my sight, the way the pot maker presents himself to my sight, how the wheel presents itself to my eyes, in that manner the pot doesn't present myself to my eyes, it's not manifest. If you were to say that, even if you use the word it is not there, but if you mean that it is not yet manifest, I don't mind that language, absence. What a way of thinking. You can use any language, but if you mean before the creation of the pot, even if you say there is no pot, I don't mind, as long as what you mean is that pot is there but unmanifestly there. It is unmanifest. Therefore, when you use the word absence, it should mean unmanifest presence. You can use the word absence if you mean by it unmanifest presence. Absence should not mean total absence. Absence should mean unmanifest presence. हमको कोई problem नहीं थी. Are you able to follow? All that looks absent is unmanifestly present. Why? Because we can infer if it were totally absent, it would not have manifested. Therefore, before you wake up, you are unmanifestly present. If a musician goes to sleep, he doesn't become absent, he is unmanifestly present. So before you wake up from sleep, if you are unmanifestly present, before you are born also, you are unmanifestly present. Even after death, you are unmanifestly present, because presence doesn't alternate with absence. What alternate are the manifest presence and the unmanifest presence alternate each other, not that absence and presence alternate. That's a contradiction. Now present, now absent, now present, now absent can't be proved. Now in the potential state, now in the manifest state, now in the potential state, now in the manifest state is within our experience. That is observable. The alternating of the manifest presence and the unmanifest presence is seen by us, but the presence and total absence is not seen. That is why here Bhashyakara says, Vartate iti Asat Shabdasya Arthaschet. If this were the meaning of the word Asat, he is really very intelligent. Bhashikar is very intelligent. It says you can use the word absence provided you mean by it unmanifest presence. वो क्या प्रॉब्लम है? हमको क्या प्रॉब्लम? We are not worried about which word you use, as long as what you mean. If what you mean doesn't pose a problem, words we don't mind. Vedic people don't fight over words. They don't bother about words, whether you call Ishvara or Allah or God, who cares? Because it's all language anyway. As long as what you mean is the truth. As long as your definition of the truth is all right. Which language you use, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? If you mean basmati rice, instead of basmati, if you say some other mati, क्या हो गया जी? क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Therefore, my dear Shunyavadi, you can use the word asat, and if you can mean by that word asat, if you can mean the unmanifest presence, I have no objection. You can say, before the pot is created, the pot is not there, meaning pot is unmanifestly there. It's not yet manifest. Before it is created, it remains unmanifest. It remains unmanifest, not it is not. It is unmanifestly present, not absent. The moment you say absent, as I told you, it creates a different school of thought. Absence is insufferable. Absence is insufferable. Absence frightens. Absence is too jarring. A man loves presence, not absence. Even when he loves absence of unhappiness, it means he loves the presence of happiness. Even when he loves the absence of bondage, the implication is he loves the presence of freedom. Therefore, the love for the absence boils down to the love for presence of something. The love for the absence of discomfort or the hate for discomfort is nothing but the love for comfort. Ultimately, his love is only for the presence of his being. Everything boils down to the presence. Hey Shunyavadi, if you were to say that everything is fundamentally absent, you are wrong because you can't prove it. Whereas I can prove continuity. I can prove continuity of your being, but you can't prove the discontinuity or absence. You can't prove. And my way of proving is I can draw your attention to your own experiences. That is called proving. It's like saying, my dear sir, you are conscious, you are not inert. In order to prove to you that you are conscious, I don't have to take you to a laboratory and put you in a test tube and put it on a flame and then boil you and then make you see how you are conscious. ऐसा होता है जी. Proving need not be always in the laboratory, please. That is all different. That is all that when it comes to the material science, that is okay. But here, Vedic people proved the truth sitting under a tree. You draw man's attention to his own experience of his own presence. drawing attention to what is in the way of proving. You don't have to have really huge institutions. In fact, in India, throughout, where did they used to sit down and communicate truth? Under a tree. That is why the Indians in the past loved most the trees. Why? Every tree was an institution. Every tree was a lecture hall. Every tree was a classroom. नीचे रेती होती, गंगा जी के किनारे पेड़ के नीचे बैठो आराम से, and there are 2-3 students and there is a teacher, he just talks to them very cheerfully, happily about the truth. You don't have to have a huge report. You don't have to create a, what is that, NASA? You don't have to have a NASA to prove the truth. You don't have to prove NASA to the truth. To play with stars, you require NASA. To understand the truth, you require only a very healthy tree, under whose shade you can relax and look at yourself. I can prove the continuity of your being. You cannot prove its absence even for a second. You can't prove the absence of the observer even for a second. And therefore, sir, if you use the word absence, and if you mean by it unmanifest presence, I don't mind. But if you say absent, if you use the word absent and mean absence, then it is not acceptable. If you use the word absence and mean presence, then I don't get it. And therefore learn to tell a lie. Use the word absence and mean presence. Baba. Therefore saying something and meaning something else, you have to specially learn. Now please see, nahi, next line. न विरुध्येत इति अस्मच्च इति असत् शब्दस्य अर्थश्चेत न विरुध्यते is not a contradiction. Kasmatu, how I should not mind? Why I should not mind? If you use the word absence and mean the unmanifest presence, I should not mind. Nobody should mind. Because what you mean is okay. The word is not a problem. Why? He explains. See, nahi akasmat svena hi bhavishyad rupena ghato vartate. Sir, when you say before the pot is created, even if you say pot is not there, before it is created, pot is not there. Before the pot is created, it is not there. Even if you say it, it's okay, provided you mean that it is unmanifestly present. Why? Because after a few minutes, it is going to be manifest. What is totally non-existent, how can it suddenly become manifest? How can you believe in the pre-non-existence? How can one believe that pot before it was created, it was totally non-existent? How can I believe it? Because if it were totally non-existent, then it should not become manifest. That's why here he says, Svena hi bhavishyadrupena ghato vartate. Because it is going to be there in a few minutes, manifest, and therefore, right now, it is unmanifestly present. Nahi pindasya vartamanatha. The presence of the mrit pinda. The presence of, before you make a pot, you make a mrit pinda, clay ball. nahi pindasya vartamanasa, the presence of the mrit pinda. Kapalasya va vartama, or the presence of the pieces of pot. They are not a part of pot. The pot form doesn't include mrit pinda. The form of mrit pinda is not a part of the form of pot. The kulala, that kapala, is also not a part of pot. They are not a part of pot. When the pot is complete, if you look for a mrit pinda, you don't come across. If you see kapalas, you don't come across. Therefore, kapala is not a part of pot. Kapala is another creation. Mrit pinda is another creation. One creation is not a part of another creation. One creation replaces another creation. One wave is not a part of another wave. One wave replaces another. One thought is not a part of another thought. One thought replaces another thought. Kapala replaces pot. Mrit pinda replaces pot. Pot replaces mrit pinda and kapala. Therefore here he says, nahi pindasya vartamanata kapalasya va ghatasya bhavati. The presence of the pot, the presence of the mrit pinda or the kapala's presence is not a part of the presence of pot. Nacha tayoho bhavishyata ghatasya, nor their future presence is a part of the pot. Neither the present presence of the mrit pinda and kapala, nor their future presence is a part of the presence of the pot. Now I will give you another drishtata. We will take up the example of thought. Supposing the thought of love, its present presence or its future presence is not a part of your thought of hatred. Whether the present presence of the thought of love or the present presence of thought of love or the future presence of the thought of love, neither the present presence of the thought of love nor the future presence of the thought of love is a part of the thought of hatred. In the same manner, neither the present presence of mrit pinda and kapala nor their future presence is a part of pot. Why? Because they have replaced the pot. Therefore, pindasya vartamanata kapalasya va ghatasya bhavati nacha tayor bhavishyata ghatasya tasmat. Therefore, kulaladi vyapara vartamanatayam pragutpattehe ghataha asanniti na virudhyate. And therefore, just this much you grasp. These are all very, very terse arguments. Don't go into them. I will give you the essence of it. And therefore, it is okay to say that the pot, before its creation, was unmanifestly present. But don't say it is not. Before the creation of the pot, it was not, don't say. It was unmanifest. Unmanifest. Asanniti na virudhyate. This word doesn't pose a problem. Yadi ghatasya yat swam bhavishyata karya rupam tat pratishiddhyeta. If you were to deny its future manifestation, यदि घटस्य यत् स्वं भविष्यत्ता कार्यरूपं तत्प्रतिषिध्येत तत्प्रतिषेधे विरोध स्यात्. Up to that. If you were to deny the future manifest presence of the pot, if you say before the creation of the pot it is not, when you say it is not, you are also, when you are denying its present presence, you are also denying its future presence. That link is there for a scholar to appreciate it. How can you deny? See, it is going to be born. The pot is going to be out in another few minutes. And right at that time, if you say it will not be, it is a contradiction. But I am not saying it will not be. It will be. I am only saying it is not now. I say even that creates a contradiction, because when you say it is not, then it should not be in future also. Therefore, denying the present presence amounts to denying the future presence. Understand? Denying the present presence amounts to denying the future presence. If you say right now it is not there but it will be, is wrong. If it is present, if it is absent now, it will be absent later. Before the creation of the pot is absent, you can't say. Before the creation of the pot is present, but in a different way. After the creation, it is present in a different way. Before the creation, it is present in a different way. That difference I appreciate. After the creation, it is manifestly present. Before, it is unmanifestly present. Its presence is different. What if you say it is not there? Denying pot's presence before creation amounts to denying pot's presence after creation. And denying pot's presence after creation is a contradiction. Haji. Let us complete the paragraph. Yat swam bhavishyatta karya rupam tat pratishidyeta tat pratishéde virodhasyat. Natu tad bhavan pratishédhati. That you are not negating. You do say that in future it will be, but to say that it will be, you have to say it is. To say it will be, you have to say it is. Nadu tad bhavan pratishédati nacha sarvesham kriyavatam karakanam ekayev vartamanata bhavishyatvam va. All the karakas need not have simultaneous manifestation. Try, you can follow what I am saying. All the karaka means the actor, the creator, the means of creation, the material through which you create, and the result. All of them need not have manifestation at the same time. Now the pot maker is manifest, wheel is manifest, clay is manifest, pot is also a karaka. The result of action also is a karaka. Allah also is a karaka. Need not be manifest at the same time. Now the pot maker is manifest. Now the wheel is manifest, is there. Clay is also manifest. The clay pile is manifest. But pot is not yet manifest. Before the creation, Parameshwara is there, evident. The Creator is there. The creation is yet to become manifest. He is ever evident anyway. And therefore, simply, among karakas, all of them need not have simultaneous manifestation. Some karakas can manifest before, some karakas can become manifest later on. Why not? If you can follow it, follow it. If you can't follow it, nothing great. This much you can follow. What is this? Follow the fact that if you follow it is okay. If you don't follow it, not a big loss. This statement, better follow. Nothing great. But one thing you all must and can and should follow is that you cannot prove absence. That is the main thing. Baki sab details. You can't prove absence. And Swamiji, you said proving is drawing attention to it. But how can you draw my attention to absence? Which absence can you draw my attention to? Kaun si absence? Supposing you say, I am drawing your attention to your dead friend. He is not there. I say, my thought of his absence boils down to my presence. My thought of his absence boils down to my presence. There can never be a thought of absence is a notion, presence is a reality. There is no, you cannot peak more than this. Vedanta peaks here. Absence is, Shunya is a notion, Purnam is a fact. Shunyam is a notion, Purnam is a fact. Therefore the entire Buddhism is what? Notion. Yes. Just a notion. When you get tired of the truth, then you can go to notions. Swamiji, for a change we go for notions. जैसे दाल रोटी से थक जाते हैं, then we go for junk stuff. Okay ji, this is all. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasidhyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, Hari Om.